I don't really get scared the way I used to, but there are a few things I have seen that I can't forget. The first happened not too long ago. One of my close friends died last September. He used to smoke a lot and he kept stacks of old magazines. A few weeks after he passed away, my house started to smell very weird. It was like wet cigarette butts with the smell of old books kept in boxes. The smell would come back and go, but it lasted for about a week. Not only me, but other people of my house also noticed the smell. After some days, I went to my grandma's house. Her house has always been strange. Almost everyone in that house has felt some sort of paranormal activities. At my grandpa's house, we were sitting in the living room talking to each other, but then suddenly I saw something. At first, I thought my eyes were just tired from driving, but I was wrong. This thing was totally real. It was floating down the hallway toward us. It was clear, see through. It was like a jellyfish. It was like about the size of a paintball. It moved slowly at first, then started darting in and out of the doorway to the kitchen. That's when I stood up and walked straight outside, leaving my grandmother mid sentence. She started following me and she was constantly asking what went wrong with me. I told her about the incident. She said, "Nothing in this house can hurt you." I looked at her and said, "It may not hurt us, but we can hurt ourselves." We went back inside, but I made sure to sit where I couldn't see the hallway anymore. A year earlier, I visited that house again with my daughter. She was just 8 years old that time. When we were leaving, I asked her if she had fun. She smiled and said, "Yes, but who was that other lady?" I froze. I tried to explain, but she went quiet. Finally, she looked at me and said, "It's better if you don't talk about this." I tried once more, but she cut me off. She again said, "I said I don't want to talk about it." We drove home in silence. She fell asleep in her car seat. That night, I called my grandmother and we talked about it for a while. And then there was the last time. Another family member had passed away, and I stayed at their house for 3 nights. I slept in their living room. The first night, as I lay under the covers, something began pulling at my blanket, over and over, slow, gentle, almost playful. I didn't move neither, I reacted, and once I ignored it, it stopped, but I still remember the feeling. When I was younger, my best friend Lexi lived next door. Our parents were close. They would go on motorcycle trips together, and we would just crash at one of our houses until they came back. Totally normal, nothing weird ever happened. One night we were sitting in her room, just talking like we always did. Out of nowhere, we saw this bright light through our window. A second later, we heard motorcycle pulling into the gravel driveway. We thought, oh, our parents must have forgotten something. Before we could even get up, there was a knock at the door and a soft woman's voice called. Then we heard the front door open. We both froze because we knew that sound. The door always scraped across the floor, but the voice didn't sound like anyone we knew. Our families all have really Texan accents. This didn't. Thinking it was an intruder, we crept through the house, scared out of our minds. The front door was wide open, the driveway was empty, and nobody was in the house. We finally started to calm down and walked back toward her room. But right as Lexi reached the doorway, she dropped to the floor and started sobbing. I didn't know what was going on. I was terrified. Then she told me something as tall as the door frame was standing in her parents' room. When our parents came back, weird stuff kept happening in that house. It weird stuff kept happening in that house. It didn't stop. Eventually, her family moved out. Guys, I'm really sorry for the bad narration of the story. It's my first time. I will keep improving it in future videos. Well, if you have got any true personal horror story, don't hesitate to share it through email from my channel's banner. I have had a few paranormal experiences, but this one sticks with me because I actually saw something. One afternoon, after middle school, I went over to my friend's house. It was just the two of us hanging out in his backyard. In the middle of his yard, There was this small casita, kind of like a little house. We were just talking, nothing weird, when we did not even say a word to each other. We both jumped up at the same time. I went left, he went right, to circle around the casita and catch whoever it was. We met up at the back, and there was no one. The walls around the yards were high. There was no way for anyone to run off without us. Later, I found out that my friend and his brothers had been messing with the Ouija board. After